Hello, and welcome once again to another Halpha Historia. We are once again about our business of providing you, the viewer, with a richer experience by exploring the things that make this universe what it is. My name's Zeo, and I'll be your lore keeper. Some people would call me lore master, but I don't know, that seems a little bit presumptuous. The frozen land of Kvaris. A land of untold beauty and peril, a frozen shadow of its former self. But what if I told you this winter wonderland wasn't always like this? After all, why would you want your seat of power and commerce here when you can set it up here? Once upon a time, Kvaris was the verdant crown jewel of Halpha, much like present-day Central City in Aelio. But this former capital stretched much further than Central City does. Kvaris is a mountainous region that was no doubt home to an abundance of natural resources. Well, that is, until Dark Falls came to town about 100 years ago. So that encounter caused extensive and perhaps irreversible environmental damage. The impetus for our trip to Kvaris was to investigate the whereabouts of a researcher by the name of Ilma. It turns out the Central Canon did work against Dark Falls, but the parts just weren't up to scratch. This is where Ilma comes in. But the info he needed was in the darkest depths of Lost Central. The architecture here looks awfully familiar. In fact, it used to be called Central City before the attack happened. This Central City was domed off underneath a mountain, but even that wasn't enough to protect it from being frozen over. Our quest leads us to the control room of Lost Central, where of course we hit pay dirt. It's here that we acquired what we came for, plus a special message from the 5 siblings' grandfather. Granddad tells us the Dark Falls that attacked Kvaris 100 years ago wasn't fully developed yet. He did say it was likely to come back soon, which had already happened by this point. This still leaves a number of questions here. One of the researchers in the Kvaris camp shares with us a very important tidbit about the tower. What tower? Don't give me that look. You know what tower I'm talking about. That big elephant in the room that's been staring at us this whole time. The one the community keeps calling Einkrad for lack of a better name. Well, it turns out that tower, or floating island, is responsible for controlling Halpha's climate. At least this is our researcher friend Vasco's hypothesis. That begs the question here, did the Dark Falls attack completely overwhelm the control system to the point where it couldn't be corrected? More importantly, what attracted it to Halpha in the first place? Or could the real Dark Falls have corrupted the systems in the floating island? But that doesn't exactly hold water, otherwise the weather would be crazy everywhere else, not just on Kvaris. But we still don't know of any hosts, and the only potential candidate is Garoa. But then you have the ancients in Riord Gorge. What if the deep freeze was a defensive maneuver against those? This does seem like a rather heavy-handed response though. So now I ask you, gentle viewer, what are your thoughts? You know how much I love chopping it up with you guys in the comment section and on the streams. As always, thank you so much for watching and for the continued support. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, to thine own self be true. Until next time, farewell.